In a quiet town nestled beneath golden hills, there was an old wooden bench in the park. It stood under a large banyan tree, its wood cracked by time, paint faded by years of sunlight and rain. To most it meant nothing, just another old bench. But every evening, without fail, a tired old man named Ravi would walk slowly to that bench. He always brought 2 cups of tea, one for himself, and one that was never touched. He would sit exactly at 5 p.m. every day, no matter the weather, and stare down the stone path leading into the trees. People saw him, but no one asked. Until one day, a young man named Aman, who jogged through the park each evening, finally stopped and said, "Uncle, I always see you here. If you don't mind, who are you waiting for?" Ravi looked at the untouched cup, then at the path, and finally at Aman. "My son," he whispered. "I had only one child. My world, my heartbeat. I wanted him to become a doctor, not just because it was a noble job, but because I thought it would secure his future, give him a life I could never afford." Ravi's voice cracked a little, but he wanted something else. He wanted to paint, said he saw the world in colors, not in prescriptions. I didn't listen. I thought he was being foolish. One day I lost my temper, shouted at him, said things no father should say, told him to leave the house if he wouldn't obey me. Aman's chest tightened. What happened then? "He left," Ravi said, eyes glassy. "He looked at me one last time, not with anger, but with heartbreak. I thought he'd come back after a day or two, a week maybe, but days turned to years. The silence between them grew heavy. I was waiting for an apology," Ravi said softly. "But now I know I was the one who owed it. I let my pride be louder than my love." He took a deep breath and smiled weakly. "But I made a promise to myself. If he ever comes back, even after decades, I'll be here. I'll be waiting. Every evening, 5 p.m., so that if he ever wants to forgive me, he won't find an empty bench." But one evening, the bench remained empty. Ravi never came again. A small flower was placed on the seat the next morning. The tea stain still marked the spot where his cup always sat. Then, a week later, a man in his 30s stood in front of that bench, holding a letter and shaking hands. His beard was unshaven, his eyes filled with tears. The letter read, "Baba, I never hated you. I just wanted to be seen. I painted every sunset thinking of the one we watched together when I was 10. I was coming today to tell you I'm sorry too." But the bench was quiet now. A new plaque had been placed at its center. He waited, not because he expected forgiveness, but because he never stopped loving. Sometimes, the people we love the most are the ones we hurt without meaning to, not with our fists, but with our silence, our stubbornness, and our pride. We convince ourselves that being right is more important than being together. We think we have time to apologize, time to make things right, time to finally say the words that got stuck in our throat for years. But time doesn't wait. People don't wait while we sit in our silence. The people we love are drifting further away, not because they stopped loving us, but because they stopped feeling seen. Sometimes the distance isn't measured in miles, but in unsaid words and misunderstood intentions. This story reminds us, love is not about control. It's about understanding. Being right will never heal what kindness can. And when we finally decide to humble ourselves, to say, "I'm sorry," or "I miss you," we must do it now, not someday. Because that bench won't always be there. And sometimes the apology we finally gather the courage to give arrives too late for anyone to hear it.